Hello and welcome to round 2 of the GT3 Championship, hosted by the Sim Racers Room and proudly brought to you by the Jamaica Simulation Racing Association. I'm your host, Stephen Stewart, and today we're heading to one of the most legendary motorsports arenas in the world, the Daytona International Speedway. It's a 60-minute sprint race, no mandatory pit stops. Don't be fooled. The current fuel capacity on board these GT3 beasts, their strategy is still very much so on the table. Expect fuel management, tire decisions, and a critical balance of aggression and patience to define today's race. We saw it last week where strategy played a huge role, bringing Taj Edwards to the front of the field. This is going to be absolutely epic. Daytona's high-speed banking meets its technical infield section in a unique clash of styles, testing every bit of the driver's skill from slipstream showdowns on the oval to precision braking in the bus stop. It's a track that delivers drama from lights out to the checkered flag. With a strong grid, we have some new drivers here this afternoon, and a championship just starting up. Buckle in, because Daytona under the lights always brings those fireworks. Yeah, I'm excited for what is to come. We'll have qualifying on. We'll be running with Jared Miller, the American driver. Currently the first start his flying lap. Already purple sectors going out for him. We are riding along board now with Paulo Teles and Jared Miller. My apologies, did find some spinning action there, same place as Paulo. The two were showing purples on their sectors, and in the same exact space. It looks like they found themselves in a little bit of sliding. Taj Edwards won last week's race. He is a rapid driver. We look to see what he can be doing here this afternoon. His rival in Jaden Harrison won't be partaking this evening, as he's currently off the island and will not be in for the next 2 rounds, unfortunately, but we'll be back. But we have some returning drivers. The leader of Sim Racers Room, the only driver in Acura, as a matter of fact, Samorne Deploy. We'll catch on with him in a moment's time. Right now, just going through the field, seeing what is where, and as you see, the time's going out now. 1:47.327, fastest so far, 9/10 clear. The next one is the Trinidadian in Shahinda Singh. Kurt Moss there puts it in P4 with a 1:48.402. So right now, Taj in a class of his own. There's 3 Caribbean countries on the podium at the moment, but we have about 10 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. We do have 3 Trinidadians and 1 Jamaican. Benson Sunday puts it in only 2/10 of Taj Edwards, so that looks like his battle is going to come very swift. Shahinda Singh as well was only 4/10 off, and Andrew Marson only 2/1000 off of Shahinda, but Declan Daniel there quickly takes back that position, and that looks like track evolution, because even Paulo is improving quite well. He is a South African. He was looking rapid earlier until that little spin that he had right there in sector 2, but the times should be going down further. I'm gonna assume pole time will be about a 1:46.4, 1:46.3. As Jared Miller now moves up again, 1:47.196 for the Jamaican. And Paolo does set it in P2 with a 146.870. So the qualifying is now on the way. And Taj Edwards quickly proves me wrong with a 146.179. Will we see the 145? The fastest we saw in practice was a 146.5. And Kurt Moss there, 2 Jamaicans on the top of the field. 146.103 right now, only a few mere tenths separating the field. Ooh, this qualifying session looks like it's gonna get very fun very quickly. The temperatures for this afternoon, there was a chance of rain, but it looks like it's going to be dry, but we will have some clouds in effect. Wind speeds are at about 9 kilometers per hour. It's currently 2:12 p.m. in the afternoon, as well as the ambient temperature is around 29 degrees. The track temps in Florida, 45 degrees Celsius. And there they go, Declan Daniel now 145.561. Take a look now at Guillermo, as he was looking good, but yellow as he comes out to sector 2. Goes around that banking in that BMW M3. It's going to be one to watch, but right now we have 5 Trinidadians, 3 Jamaicans, 6 South Africans, and each of them just trying to play their role. Cayman also here, Mornay deployed, Julian Narcisse definitely there for the taking. 146 by Guillermo, and that is only 4 tenths off. Peter Arundel, good friend of ours here at the JSRA as well, puts it on pole with a 145.561, literally the same exact time as his teammate from the Calypso Racing community in Declan Daniel. So Peter and Declan sharing that pole position right now, 145.561 each. And that was a lap, ladies and gentlemen. 1 thousandths better and he would have cleared. But that being said, still the qualifying times are still going down. Declan Daniel is improving right now. Let's just watch and see how he's going as he crosses the line. Does he improve? Yes, he does, by a good 10th of a second. And that is about 6 minutes remaining in this qualifying session, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be very interesting here as the qualifying continues. Jared Miller is improving. He sits in P12 in that McLaren. He was putting on some shows there in the midfield last week. Will you see him further up? Sits in P12 right now. Crosses the line. Does not improve. So right now the time's looking at they're about plateauing. Nobody necessarily improving. Tash Edwards in P6. He's one that I expect to be a little bit further up. And there he goes. As I speak of the word, Tash Edwards moves up into P3. He himself has shown some pace. We're missing Jaden Harrison here. He would have thrown some drama here as well in these stages. As Kurt Moss goes through that chicane, as he heads now down to the banking. Always a brilliant livery there by the Jamaican. Always proud of his colors as well. Benson Sunday, another Calypso Racing racer, moves up into P5. So right now it's a 5-row. The first 3 rows are covered in Trinidad colors, red, black and white. Only one Jamaican to break that quadruple. Joshua Brady 146.926. My apologies. I did see Mr. Reese Enzavino is missing in action last week. He's another rapid driver, so we should see him reaching a little bit further up the grid. when he eventually comes out. Right now, 3 American drivers. We have Kevin Burke making his debut here. We missed him in the last 2 rounds. Hopefully we'll get him for this evening. Definitely looking to forward to that battle. He said if he was in round 1, Jaden Harrison would have been in trouble. Nathan Ford as well in the McLaren. Right now, Andrew Marson does take a little bit of extra pace here and puts it up in P3. Tash Edwards as well, P2 with a 145.472, only 100th off. And all of the time was lost coming in sector 2. Declan Daniel again improving, but then in the middle sector does lose out. Kurt Moss again, he's another one that we expect to see further up the grid. We should see him climbing. He's never one to put out. Peter Arundel as well is improving in sector 3. 145.099 is the time to beat. He sets a 145.561. Last lap was a 146.61. Paolo, he heads into the pits with 3 minutes remaining. Is at the end of his qualifying session. Kurt Moss still pushing. There again, Guillermo Silva puts it up in P3. South African. So now we have 3 countries on the podium. As it stands, at least we have 3 minutes remaining, or under 3 minutes. Andrew Marson coming out to the pits now, maybe trying to get 1 more lap in. See if he can just set his final lap of the session. Benson Sunday was improving at the end of sector 1, but still not enough for him here. 146.154. So he should have about 1 more lap to go to try and throw a little bit of extra drama. Peter Arundel right now is flying in that Porsche 911. Will he be the one to dismantle P1 from his countryman in Declan Daniels? Sits in P5 at the moment, crosses the line at 146.022, 145.190, my apologies. That does put him up into P2. So right now, 2 Trinidad drivers, 1 Jamaican. Taja Edwards is improving slightly, ever so slightly. Let's ride along board with him to see how he can finish this race. Disqualifying, my apologies. Does he improve? Yes, he does, by a few hundredth, but still not enough to take pole position. And ladies and gentlemen, right now, the only other driver that we really want to be watching is Mr. Arundel, because he himself is rapid right now. Improved in sector 1, purple in sector 2 so far. Where will this lap put him? Sits in P3 currently, and he is looking rapid as he goes through the chicane, tries to carry as much speed through, back on the throttle, and he is looking like he's about to dismantle. Right ahead of him is Mr. Kurt Moss. Will he improve? No, it doesn't seem that way. But Mr. Arundel, as he comes around the final corner, the start-finish line is right there. passes the start finish line. Where does that put him? Right there on pole position, 145.001, only 900 up on his teammate. What a move, almost a full 10th clear, almost touched the 144s. What an absolutely epic qualifying session that was for him. Kevin Burke hasn't set that indicative lap as yet. Where will this put him? He is improving on his last lap, but immediately heads back into the pit, so he will be starting from last position. Unfortunately for him, Taj Edwards cannot improve but holds for P3, an epic end to his qualifying session. Nathan Ford, another driver, it looks like he found himself in the wall and brings himself to the pits, and we will have a full lap of a full rolling start for the session underway. And what a qualifying session that was, ladies and gentlemen. And we do head down now, begin racing. Joshua Brady. We still have two drivers, Peter Arundel, but I believe they're heading into the pits now. And the grid is set, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just show the results from qualifying now as they begin the formation lap. Drivers just loading their setups. Right now, Peter Arundel is on a pole position with a 145.001. Declan Daniel in P2, only 900th down. Tash Edwards in P3, 10th down. Guillermo Silva, the South African. Only two South Africans. Ati is back in P9, but yep. Mr. Silva there in P4. Andrew Marson. We have a full row of Trinidadians today. And if I am honest, I am Jamaican, but I do have an affinity to the Trinidad culture or Trinidad country. So, you know, I'll be as fair as possible, but nonetheless. The formation lap is now underway. Andrew Marson in P5. Shahinder Singh in P6. Benson Sunday in P7. Kurt Moss in P8. Ati Nigel in P9. Mornay Deploy caps out the points positions in P10. Paulo Teles, another South African, in P11. Joshua Beatty in P12. Jared Miller in P13. Hilton Nickerson in P14. Julian Narcisse in P15. Jean Geyser in P16. Nathan Ford in P17. And Rauluf Mutton in P18. I was hoping that we would have seen Mr. Reese Enzivino, but we won't be seeing him here this evening. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have the formation lap underway, and the drivers are raring to get going, keeping their tires as warm as possible as the safety car now heads out. Peter Arundel leads his teammate. In Declan Daniel, Taj Edwards right behind him. It's Peter, then Taj. Taj immediately loses out, but still has the inside line. And we are gone racing, ladies and gentlemen. Peter and Declan are fighting it out already for pole position. Right now, Andrew Marson being hunted by the Jamaican in Kurt Moss. You know, he is one that will be very quiet and patient to just pick them off one by one. He made his way through the field last week. Will he be able to this week? As we have a very clean start so far. And we're looking good for the next hour, ladies and gentlemen. We have 60 minutes, 59 almost to go. There is a mandatory pit stop. As you're seeing right now, Nigel seeing exactly what is in front of him. Saw this livery a lot last week. There were some very key battles. As right in front of him, Joshua Brady and Benson Sunday fighting it out, the two Caribbean countries. Joshua is on the outside line. Ooh, why is it freezing? Please don't freeze. Ooh, had a little bit of glitch there, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies, but we're back on at it. And Joshua Brady does move up into P8. 4 positions gained at the start of this race. And the Jamaican now sits behind his teammate, or his countryman, let me say. Ooh, and that's a little bit of, I'm guessing that's a little bit of commentator's curse. Can't hold it. Joshua Brady moved up 4 position, now loses 7, 8, and is now at the back of the field. That is tears, pain, suffering for the Jamaican driver. Spoke a little bit too soon, unfortunately. Right now, the fight is between Kurt Moss and Kurt Moss and Andrew Marson, as the two were side by side. Kurt Moss does move up to P6 and gains that position from the Trinidadian. Now has a Trinidadian and a South African in front of him. Has some work to do, but we know Kurt Moss is one that will make his way through slowly but surely. But while we watch that, Paulo Teles was looking rapid in the qualifying session, does make it up on Benson Sunday and moves up now into P10. And Mornay Deploy right in front of him. He's going to be one that we will be watching for in the foreseeable future. Right now, Jared Miller looking like he's trying to make his move on Mr. Geyser there. And this now is a 4-way battle. It is outside of the points, but still, nonetheless. So we will ride along board now with Declan Daniel, who is chasing. Right behind him as well is Kurt Moss, trying to hunt down the likes of Shahinder Singh. Right there in the background as well, Mornay Deploy. There are battles all throughout the field right now. Mornay not too far. Only Akira taking right behind Nigel. So as we go on and continue on with this battle, Taj Edwards has fallen back about 2 seconds. Quite unusual, to say the least. It's typically right there, but maybe this is his strategy, maybe to try and go long. There is a mandatory pit stop, so that's going to be interesting. But there, Declan Daniel has passed Peter Arundel, 4P1, and we will look at the replay in a moment's time to see what had happened there. But Risa and Zivino there is fighting side by side with Mr. Jared Miller. With Mr. Julian Narcisse. Reese now loses out 2 positions in 1. As he continues on this battle in that Porsche. Gains it back on Mr. Who is that behind him? Is that Kevin Burke? Kevin Burke there is trying to throw a little bit of drama here and try and get some action in for himself. Started in P20, now moves up into P14. 6 positions gained by the British driver. He is looking rapid here this evening. Just maybe didn't get a good qualifying session, but his race pace definitely one to watch for. Jared Miller right in front. Continue to watch that gap. But right now, Kurt Moss, the Jamaican, still chasing. See where he can gain that advantage in front of him. It's a good view of everybody right here. No need to rush. So many battles going on that you don't even want to blink for a second. But we'll just take a quick look at that pass for the lead between Declan Daniel and Peter Arundel. 4P1. And this is it. Declan in the Mercedes goes on the inside. Almost as if there was team orders to let him through. But still an awesome move there. Just looked rapid. Paolo, close on the rear end of Mornay deploy in front. Mornado looking like he's trying to make a move on Ati Nagel. Ati will lose a position. Will he lose 2? As now the BMW looks on the outside, moves back on the inside, sits in the slipstream of Mr. Nagel in that McLaren. But right now, even behind them is Mr. Benson Sunday. Is waiting on his moment. He's lost 4 positions since the start of this race. He's trying his best to see if he can gain back more. Julian Narcisse is in a battle with Jared Miller. He's trying his best to get through. Saw that gap fall very low. But we'll continue to watch because Paolo as well is sitting right there in the slipstream of his countryman in Ati Nagel. This is looking ridiculously close to the rear end of that McLaren. Kurt Moss though still sits in P6. Has just been maintaining that gap 3/10, not rushing to get through. 10 minutes has elapsed, so about 50 minutes remains. battle for 8th is on between Paulo Tellez, Atinagel, and Morne Deploy. And there goes Paulo. Looks on the inside, side by side. They go to that chicane. And a move is done there by Paulo. Saw the moment to shine and took it and ran as quickly as possible, but still under threat now by Ati. And we saw Ati last week. Ati as well under threat by Benson Sunday, and that side draft is going to be immaculate. But again, you want to be on the inside, heading down into turn 1. It's going to be heavy braking. Try and trail and carry as much speed, can defend is Atinagel. Benson Sunday still will be trying to hunt down the likes of the drivers in front of him. Push, 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 says race engineer. The battle for P4 is a 4-way battle. 3 separated by about 4 seconds. Sorry, about 2 seconds. And while this battle is going on, Shahinder Singh just saw that not sure what had happened with him, but Andrew Marson does pass him for P6, and Mornay Deploy now comes up to overtake and moves up into P7. So Shahinder losing 2 positions in 1 go. Will this pace be able to outmatch the likes of Mornay Deploy? Only time will tell, but right now Mornay does move up, and it's now a 5-way battle for 7th. We look forward to seeing what can happen there, but the South African in Mr. Silva has found his way up onto the back end of Taj Edwards. Looks on the inside and just makes that move. That looked too easy for him. Is Taj going through something? Because now even Kurt Moss is right there on the back end of him. Andrew Marson not too far behind. Only about 4 seconds, 3.5 seconds, my apologies. So right now, Kurt Moss right there in the back of Taj Edwards. It's a trio of BMWs. The grid still not too far separated. Kevin Burke is the only one who sits about a minute back. He looks like he might be lapsed. Not sure if he had damage. Maybe had to pit early. But the battle for 3rd is now on. Kurt Moss, Taj Edwards, and Guillermo Silva. Edwards in the midst of I was gonna say sandwich, but I don't think Kurt will be pushing too much. Maybe just trying to push him through. Maybe no fighting now. We know Kurt Moss being a strategic driver, and he will just say, hey, let's just push and try and catch up. We can fight later. Singh looking now, find some pace. He's sitting in that slipstream. That draft is going to be powerful here at Daytona. Looks on the outside. They'll be heading into the final corner, which heads into turn 1. They are side by side. The inside line is ideal. Mornay Deploy will have to try and make that Acura as wide as possible, but not enough. Shahinder Singh moves up now, back into P7. We're going to hunt now for Andrew Marson behind, but now again it's a 5-way battle for 7th, because right behind Shahinder is Mornay, behind Mornay is Paulo, behind Paulo is Ati, and behind Ati is Benson Sunday. This is going to be a fun battle to continue watching. As we speak of that, Mutton and Julian Narcisse are fighting it out now. He is outside of the points, but still. This is what we come here to see, some battling here this afternoon. No, it's Julian. Julian just pulled to the side and lets everybody through. Not sure why, but to watch. My apologies, but while we've been watching this race, Atty and Benson have been fighting it out. Benson did make the move. And when it comes on a little bit, we can watch back the replay to see how it was done. Apologies, but why am I getting some messages that Taj Edwards and Kurt Moss had crashed? Hopefully it wasn't anything too dramatic. Let's see what had happened here. Not seeing anything. So hopefully that was just a glitch in the system, because they are continuing on. And no time lost, so maybe a little bit of bump drafting, but yeah, I'm seeing it on my screen, but hopefully there's anything too disastrous. Mornay Deploy did pass Shahinda Singh there for P7. Mornay up 3 positions now. Fight is right behind him, and Shahinda and Paolo. Shahinda trying to close that gap as best as possible as I head down now into the chicane. Left, right. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is a full-on battle for 6, because Mornay is closing in on the Trinidadian and Jamarson, not too far up the field. We haven't gotten the pit stops as yet, so that's going to be interesting. Mornay though and Mr. Singh are fighting it out. That Akira is looking rapid here this evening. Shahinda now on the threat by Paulo Tellez. Ooh, and that looked late on the brakes, and that's an incident there with the Trinidadian and the Cayman driver in Mornay Deploy. You could see him just closing down. Mornay now relegated to P11. I'm sure we'll hear about that in the steering room after. Shahinda lost 2 positions there in that battle. 3 since the beginning of this race. So pain, suffering, strife. It's typically what we hear nowadays. Well, we have a moment. Let's just take a quick look. Well, how did that happen? You can see he was defending from Paulo, but then went late on the brakes and just ended up right there to take out the leader of the sim racers room. Don't worry, there won't be any bias to the stewarding report. Let me just take a look at the gearbox, and he just got taken out, unfortunately for him. And just has to carry on from where he is. Mornay Deploy loses 2 positions. I'm sorry, but while we've been watching this, Kurt Moss just past Tasha Edwards, 4P3. We'll look back at the replay for that as well. I think I enjoy these replay features a little bit too much. And Kevin Burke, the first DNF for this afternoon. Just heard somebody leaving the room. Right now, Shahindo is going to be chased by the likes of Paulo. Well, we have this. We'll just take a quick look now at that pass between Kurt and Taj Edwards. And Kurt there just sent that move down into turn one and just said, hey, Taj, give me a shot. Taj just left the door open and allowed him to go through. Not too much fighting there, 2v2 countryman. Now the fight is on because the final podium position is there. And I believe that might have just been a friendly move to just allow his countryman to just go for the attack. And there he goes. Kurt Moss now on the inside of Mr. Silva. And the fight is on and there's contact. And two make it into one. Tash Edwards is the greatest victor of all this because he just goes on. Kurt Moss right behind. Now has to catch back up. Mr. Silva. He is relegated down now to P10. Hopefully not too much damage. We'll look and see what had happened there, but it looked well, we'll watch back to see what had happened, but that looked like it could have worked. Let's take a quick look now, ladies and gentlemen, at first the pass that put Kurt Moss into that position. He went on the inside. And ooh. Inside. Tried to close it. And the two made ridiculous contact. Almost looks like netcode. It's just such a strange incident. Continues on for the foreseeable future. Right now, Kurt Moss in P4. Tasha Edwards made a strategic decision to just level us through. Worked out for him in the long run. Ladies and gentlemen, we keep getting these performance drops, so I just had to make sure that we're still streaming. But yes, glad that we are still going on. I am noticing drivers in the pit lane. So is this the moment for their pit stops? As we see a few drivers, Reese and Zavino, Geyser and Ford, so three Americans. Two Americans, my apologies. Reese now exits out of the pits, so they just took their pits very quickly. Nigel is the next one. Right behind the likes of Benson Sunday. Benson moves up a few positions in the last few laps. And the fight for P4 is on because behind Kurt Moss is Andrew Marson, who only 3.5 seconds behind. Oh, quickly growing to about 4 seconds on the second. Right there for the leader, the race leader was leading by about 4 seconds. Declan Daniel heads into the pits for his pit stop. Peter and Taj continue on. The new race leader, or the return race leader, is Mr. Arundel. Taj Edwards in P2, Andrew Marson now on the podium. We have Kurt Moss as well, who entered into the pits. Benson Sunday, Shahinder Singh, Declan Daniel exits out now, the first out of the few in that Mercedes-Benz. Quite a few drivers out there still in the pits. Atinagel as well is still hunting down the likes of the Trinidadian in front of him. I'm assuming Peter and Taj should be entering into the pits now on this lap, as Kurt Moss now leaves the pits as well. He took quite some time to leave. So he's sitting now behind Julian Narcisse, Nicholson, Mutton, Jared Miller, everybody. So let's take a look and see what he did. For that pit strategy, because his time looked unusually long. And by the looks of it, didn't even change tires, so very interesting to see, and we'll see how that works out for him. But that looked a little disappointing from the again. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we'll watch and see, because with 30 minutes remaining, there's still quite some time to go. As the leaders now head down into the pit lane, Declan Daniel is more than close enough as he passes the pit entry. Peter and Taj Edwards still yet to come out, and there goes the race leader now. His strategy looking like it's going to be the best of the rest. Peter does lead from Taj Edwards. Benson Sunday not too far behind either. He should be right there on the rear end on the gearbox of Mr. Taj as Taj exits the pits now. First set of pit stops are gone now. And Shahinder Singh as they chase the lights of the field from them. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for the interviews for the top three, please leave them in the chat for now so that once we get in, we can have a good time with the drivers. Battle for fourth is on. Well, battle for fifth, really. Andrew Marson, 7 seconds behind Benson Sunday. So far has stopped, so And like how the race is kind of slowing down now, we're just going to take a look at some of the previous incidents. Oh, never mind. Yeah, we'll be riding on board now with Atty. We saw it last week, leaving some drama until the last few laps. One DNF, 19 drivers on track at the moment. So the grid does expand. That few more drivers. We are missing a few key pieces. Jaden Harrison, I feel like, would have left it out there for us on the track. Nonetheless, these drivers have been putting on quite a show here. Declan Daniel last week and the Frenchman. Boy, do I miss them. That battle, and Taj Edwards, that battle until the last lap was absolutely epic. Recent Savino passes Nathan Ford. Two Americans going at it. Nathan looks like he just gave him the position and got out of his way, and Bruce moves up to P16. Kurt Moss there. I'm guessing he ended up just fixing the damage from that incident with himself and it's a Silva. It's a Silva now sitting in P8, starting in P4, was in P3. Now sits in P8. Benson Sunday starting in P7, sits in P4, so his strategy has just worked for him. And the race is still not over because 7 tenths between himself and the Jamaican in front of him. Could it be a full row of Trinidadians on the podium here this evening or this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen? Leave your votes in the chat. Ooh, and there goes Atty down the inside. And that move was done. Looks almost like Andrew gave him the position again. Seeing a lot of that this afternoon. While we have the moment, let's just step back and look at that. He was on the slipstream. And again, it's like Andrew just said, sir, enjoy it. Enjoy the position as he moves up to P6. And they will be hunting down Shahinder Singh now in P5 and P4. Benson Sunday, however, he's right there on the right end of Taj Edwards. This is a fight for the final podium position. His way on to the back end of Andrew Marson and Atamaja, and I'm sure he will be fuming from that early incident. Will we see a little bit of red mist here to try and get through the likes of the drivers in front of him? He is catching up by a little 1.2 seconds gap. So he heads on now into turn 1. 9/10, but the gap should extend a little bit. Having some issues here, ladies and gentlemen. Please give me a moment. Yeah, fixed it. I pressed mouse in by accident. Kind of threw the stream out in a little bit of a mix there. Declan Daniel leads by a good, powerful 17 seconds. Vincent Sunday still hunts down the likes of Mr. Taj Edwards, Kurt Moss. Hunting down the likes of the South African in Hilton Nicholson. Hilton made his debut last week. Brought him in for a little bit of a interview there. It's a pleasure having him. Right now, Kurt Moss hunting down to gain back as many points as possible. I'm guessing he ended up just fixing that damage. But he should have had a faster pace, I just don't understand. But there he goes on the inside. Nicholson just allows him through. No sense fighting, might as well ask him to pull him through. Kurt Moss moves up into P12. Silva at M3 now is fighting for P7. Sees Andrew Marson in front, right there on the gearbox of him. Declan Daniel is in the pit lane. Is this a free pit for him? No, it is not. So what is his decision? Did he under fuel? Could this be a pit buffer as he heads into the pits now? But Peter Arundel should be coming across now to take P1, as well as Taj Edwards, who should be right there as well. I believe that is Joshua Brady that we just saw, yes, right behind Peter Arundel. He does get lapped. Taj Edwards now in P2. Declan Daniel exits the pits in P3, P4, P5. As Atinaja, Andrew Marson should be coming up right there on the back end of him now too. So Declan Daniel sits down now in P5. Right now it's Peter Arundel, Tasha Edwards and Shahinder Singh. The three on the podium with about 13 minutes remaining. What a race this is turning out to be. We saw some drama last week with the pit stops. As you see on the back end of Atinaja's spoiler, Jesus is number one, and oh my god, smiles to my face. Did not even notice that until now. Huge shout out to the South African there, representing for the one and true Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Epic liver there, Ati. Love to see it. Declan now hunting down the likes of that McLaren 720. And this is going to be a shootout to the end now. We have two Trinidadians on the podium, one Jamaican. Far from the two, as a matter of fact. So there's a huge buffer between the two, or the three, in P1, P2, and P3. Atinaja, though, has some work to do because Declan Daniel sitting out there in the slipstream. We saw him, he has pace. That's without a doubt. With 12 minutes remaining, or 11 minutes in a moment's time, looks on the inside, heading down into turn one, later on the brakes. Can he make it in? Yes, he does. That Mercedes-Benz moves up into P4, and now he sees the final podium by his countryman and teammate in Mr. Shahinder Singh, and he will be definitely trying his best to try and make that move to get back on the podium. But that looks like his teammate just moved aside and allowed him to go. Knows he has the pace, no sense fighting. And that Declan Daniel moves right back onto the pits, onto the podium, my apologies, to sit in for P3. Taj Edwards in P2, Declan in P3, and Peter Arundel in P1. Julian Narcisse, though, is hunting down the likes of Roll of Mutton, and he's right there fighting for P14. Was on the outside, switches to the inside. Not enough to go though. As they head into turn one, this battle will continue. Paulo Velez heads into the pits now as well. Was in P10. That's going to promote Kurt Moss back into the points. As he goes out now, Jared Miller as well in the pits. So Kurt Moss moves up into P9. Right behind him is Guilherme Silva. So Kurt Master, he's back in the points positions. Benson Sunday was on the rear end of Taj Edwards for quite some time. He is relegated now back to P8. Warning the player as well. Hunting down the lights of Andrew Marson. 2/10 is the gap between him, and right in front of them, Ati Nigel continues his war on with the likes of Shahinder Singh in front of him. We'll watch these two battles as they continue. As Mornay goes through the chicane, still hunting down, hunting. And heads into the pits. Dives in, as a matter of fact. And that's another pit stop for him. Andrew Marson continues on. Kurt Moss misses his pit box, unfortunately. Drops back down to P10. That's going to be about 3 seconds lost there in the pit stops. And had to do a little bit of refueling there. And Julian Narcisse comes around to pass him now. An extended pit stop stint, not what he would have wanted. Pain and suffering there. Continues to fight on. But back at it again, Ati Nigel. Shahinder Singh now into the pits. Ati moves up into P4. Declan in P3. Taj Edwards in P2. Peter Arundel in P1. Will they have enough fuel between the two in front of him, between Taj and Peter, to finish off this race without the pits? Was it a goof on the strategy call? Right now, everybody has made 2 stops outside of Peter Arundel and Taj Edwards and Andrew Marson. So right now, will they be able to do enough saving? We have 2 minutes remaining in this race. Can they bring it to the end? They look good. They're not doing much lifting and coasting. They're going full throttle. So as it stands, Peter Arundel and Taj Edwards look very promising in this championship. Taj was the one that won last week's race. And there you hear it, the Lyco for that BMW GT3. You heard him. He will have at least 1 more lap after this. Does he have enough fuel, ladies and gentlemen? Will his strategy work? It would be absolutely amazing for him. Did not go into the pits. There you hear in the Lyco again. Will the 1 pit stop strategy work? The gap isn't dropping as quickly as you'd think though. So as it stands, he is looking promising, but let's never say never. Is Peter doing it? No, Peter is still flat out and going and going and going. Peter looks like he's quite comfortable with his gas. And his strategy, ladies and gentlemen, looks absolutely stunning here. As he started in P1, did give the position back to the likes of Declan Daniel. Declan built about a 4-second gap, went into the pits twice versus Peter. Peter, though, just looks rapid here. And the hour has completed. So as Peter comes around now, this will be his last moment before the checkered flag. And Peter Arundel will cross the line in P1 to take victory here at Daytona. And right behind him is Mr. Tash Edwards. In P2, Declan Daniel in P3. And what a strategy call there for the 2 in front. 1 Jamaican, 1 Trinidad. Then you have Declan Daniel right there to pull it right beside his teammate in Peter J. Arundel. The 3, after an epic debut here, not debut, but epic showcase here. Benson Sunday there now comes across the line, but right before the line, will Atty get him? Yes, he will. Atty moves up into P4, and it looks like Benson ran out of fuel on the last few sections of that track. Atty promoted into P4, and Shahinder Singh as well into P5. Benson lost 2 positions there in the dying stages. And Jamarson as well finishes off in P7. Guillermo Silva in P8. Jared Miller comes around in P9. We have Paulo Telez to round out the group in P10. The points group standings here at Daytona. Hilton Nickerson in P11. Raulof Mutton in P12. Mornay Deploy in P13. Kurt Moss had a brilliant start. Incident looks like it just unraveled his race for the podium. Julian Narcisse in P15. Reese Savino in P16. Joshua Brady in his debut here in P17. Nathan Ford in P18. Guyon Geyser in P19. Kevin Burt, the only DNF. What an absolutely epic battle here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go and get the drivers ready for the cool down room. Please give us a moment to showcase what had happened here this evening. So the winner of this afternoon is Peter Arundel, followed by Tasha Edwards. Declan Daniel in P3 to 3 round out the podium, with Atinagel right there behind. Shahinda Singh in P5, Andrew Morrison in P6, Guillermo Silva in P7, Jared Miller in P8, Paulo Telez in P9, Hilton Nixon in P10, Raulof Mutton in P11, Mornay Deploy in P12, Benson Sunday looks very rapid here, finishes out in P13, Kurt Moss in P14, Julian Narcisses in P15, Recent Zavino in P16, Nathan Ford in P17, and Joshua Brady in P18. What a battle this has been, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get the interviews on in a moment's time. We'll open the floor for the drivers to enjoy the cool down room.
Yeah, I think I took about I had probably 0.8 laps extra.
Yeah, I was
Hello?
Yo.
Hey. Yes,
Yeah, that's fun.
it was an exercise in patience. Exercise in patience for me.
With like a fade to the left, and I was just running. I felt like I was running out of track, and it caught me out. As soon as I got two wheels on the grass, that was it. I was like, damn. Once I lost Mornay's pack, I couldn't catch him.
Yeah. Yeah, Steven. Into the interview room. Oh, haven't I
Everybody should have access.
Yeah, I changed it. He should be able to join it himself, but I'll drag him anyway. All right, man.
I had a good battle.
Stephen, my goat.
Yeah, thanks, Stevie. Yeah, it was a good one. I think I got dive bombed by Andrew What is that? Were you in the red?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, congrats on the win, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you. Too much fuel saving.
How hard did you have to save there, Taj?
Yeah, pretty much the whole race, just
Uh,
yeah, 70% driving and yeah, saving
Yeah,
out every corner.
we discussed it before, and it seems like that was the faster shot. I just wanted it to be different and really too stuff, and just absolutely push, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and
Plus, I
after
missed the stop as well. I missed the box. I had to reverse.
oh shit. Yeah, when I lost y'all draft, then yeah, that was pretty much it for me. I was on my own most of the time.
Yeah.
Declan left me out fairly early too, so got a few laps of of tour, but after that,
I should have stayed behind you. I would have been forced to save another finish.
The Porsche was good on fuel. It was easy to fuel save.
I was lifting at basically the start line every lap, and then just before the bus stop. I never
That's a
done that
big
much fuel
lift,
saving
though.
before.
Yeah, that's a big lift.
Yeah, I was doing that, but I had to lift in all the other corners too.
Yeah, but I was doing like for the turn 3, I was lifting right where the pit lane line ended. And then
How close were you at the end, Taj? Like, you cut out the line, or you had a little extra?
I had a little extra, could go like
Okay.
the first 2 turns.
Yeah, I should have done the one stop. Yeah. But yeah, I was just trying it. It was fun still. It was fun.
I mean, I pushed a little more the last 2 minutes. I mean, if I had continued saving, I would have been able to go further. But saving,
Yeah, I think that Porsche that cheat code too, huh? That
Yeah,
Porsche
nah,
the
nah,
cheat
nah,
code. Nah, not taking anything away from the
I knew
from the
Peter was
output.
saving in the first stint, but when I see you went the same amount of laps as me, I was like, shit, he can do it. Do the one stop. I was hoping you would pit like a lap earlier than me. But
I basically ran out as I reached in pit stop.
yeah, I ran out in the pits too.
Well, I lifted as I came off the banking. I lifted from there just to coast into the pit. 'Cause I was running out. I think coming out the bus stop, I had 1 liter left. I was like, that's not going to be enough to.
Yeah, full of, you definitely would have spotted.
I hate fuel saving races like that, but it was still fun. But it's like everything it just comes down to how much you can save, and you can't really like express yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have one push lap. Every lap had some form of saving.
From the time I saw your times and Peter's times, I already knew, there's no doubt I would already have fastest lap because like you just cannot push. Neither of you could push. If Jaden was here, I think he would have done the 2 stop as well and made it interesting. I think he would have pushed. I miss him.
Yeah, you would have done the 2 stop too, because
Yeah.
I was banking on this in Silverstone, but then you could just fill all the way up, so it didn't work there.
Yeah, it didn't work. Right. Yeah, that changes it. Okay. Which room? Which room is it?
I see stewarding.
I don't see it.
Yeah,
Stewarding.
oh, this is Stewart.
We need more. You need money, I think, to do it.
Yeah, man, all good.
Hey, you were just trying to help me out and catching him. Don't worry about it. Don't apologize. It's okay. Every once in a while, he needs a good punt.
Like I said, I lost a little bit of time, but it wasn't that much time lost from that. I had other things that ruined, well, to my own doing really, that ruined it for me. But no, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yes, fun. Into the interview room. Okay, no problem. I'll do that now. All right.
Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, we are starting now with the interviews, and we'll be starting off with our friend from the Calypso Racing community in Declan Daniel. Was doing quite an awesome job. Started P2, and I want to actually ask. We have all 3 drivers from the podium in the pit in the interview room at the moment, but I want to put this question firstly to both Declan and Peter. On that start, Declan, you had rapid pace. Was it a strategy call where maybe Peter was doing a little bit more fuel saving, and he allowed you to pass, or was it just passed on merit? I hope I'm not throwing anybody under the.
I made a big mistake.
He
into
made a
turn one.
mistake, yeah. The plan
Because
was I intended to stay behind actually, but yeah, he made a mistake at turn one and I was kind of forced into the move.
Okay, well after that there was about a 4-second gap, heading until you reach into the pits, and then immediately, it was Taj and Pito that actually overtook you, and you had to fight your way through from P4 all the way. How was that battle for you, Declan?
It was kind of frustrating. We knew before that the one stop was probably the better strat, but I decided not to do it anyway. I had hoped to come out to the pits closer to Taj, so that I could push and maybe catch him. I think I would have if, like, at least I would have caught him. I'm not sure about passing him, but I missed my pit stall at the second stop and had to reverse, and that cost me a little bit of time. But the race itself was really fun. I missed Jaden though. Jaden would have done the crazy shot with me, and we would be fighting straight through.
Absolutely. I saw him in the chat for a little bit, but he will be back not for next round, but around after. Unfortunately, he's off the island at the moment. But
Right.
how was the race overall for you as a strategy, as a team? I mean, we saw so many Trinidad flags. I mean, I believe Andrew Marson was right there. Benson Sunday was fighting Taj Edwards at a point. How did it feel for Calypso Racing to be so competitive here this afternoon?
Yeah, well, like we discussed last time, we want to come out and represent and make this into something bigger, right? So this is just us showing that we can contribute and like show ourselves and help the scene basically get some notoriety and things. So yeah, it's just about the fun and the community and the people and the region. Yeah.
Absolutely. My next question goes to Peter now, because he had the killer of a qualifying lap. I mean, at one point, Peter and you, Declan, had the same exact time. I don't know if you guys had noticed that. Down
Yeah,
to
we
the
did.
thousandths of a second, and I was like, wow, that might have been a little bit of strategy. But then Peter did extend that gap. Peter, how was that lap for you? How did it feel in the moment, and did you know at the time that was going to be the pole lap?
Yeah, but I was looking at the my relative to the my delta time, and I realized I was going to go faster. I was really trying to get into the 44s. But
Yeah,
it just 45.0 flat.
zero flat, right?
I don't know. The car just kind of came alive there. I had spun earlier in the quali and had to reset. Came back out, and I didn't think I would be able to get up to pace again before the end of the session, but yeah, it really came together right at the end.
Well, it was an absolutely epic qualifying lap. It was an absolutely epic qualifying because Taj, even you were in the mix and you took pole, then you lost out. At any point, did you think maybe it was going to be like this for you this afternoon? You started in P3, was it?
Yeah, started P3. I didn't really. I wanted to start close up to the front. It didn't matter much if I was pole because I knew I was doing the one stop, so I had to save fuel anyway. So yeah, P3 was a good quality, decent. And then at the start, I kind of got detached from Peter and Declan. So yeah, I was on my own for a lot, saving for the one stop, and then Guillaume and Kurt at one
Right.
point. I was saving behind them, and then they had the contact, and then that was over. So yeah, overall decent racer.
So that was going to be my next question now, because it almost looked like you backed out. Now I'm understanding it was almost like a fuel saving technique. You just allowed Kurt to pass you. But I thought at the moment you're just like, you take the ranks, you go see if you can make the move, and then, you'll pull me through and, use them for fuel saving in the long run. Was that the strategy to allow him through, or did he make the move on merit?
Yeah, I allowed Guillaume and Kurt both through because I was saving fuel behind them.
Right.
Guillaume couldn't get away from me
Absolutely.
outside the draft, so I just used the draft. But that only lasted like 2 laps because Kurt was there, so I let Kurt pass through. And then the lap after that, they made the contact,
Incident.
and I was back on my own again. So yeah.
So my last question on that regard was it a big smile when you saw the incident in front, or was it a little bit of hurt to see a countryman fall back? How was your reaction?
Yeah, a bit of pain, but not because it was a countryman, but more because if they hadn't made that contact, I could
You
save
could've
a
saved a
lot
little
more
more,
fuel,
right.
and I could have pushed a lot more in the pit entry and stuff, and probably I'll be a little closer to Peter to give him a challenge. But yeah, after they made the contact, I was like, pain in every language.
And then, well, I want to ask this one to you and Peter now, because you two did the one pit stop strategy. I saw you doing a lot more Lyco in the final stages of this race, but Peter, you are still flat out. How much extra fuel did each of you have in the final stint?
I ran out of fuel right on the finish line.
Really?
Yeah, I was just pushing a little more for the last 2 laps, but I was still keeping an eye on the fuel, because it was really close to the limit.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, I had a little extra for like 2 more corners. I was hoping that he would have run out coming out of the bus stop, so I would just go flat out and maybe pass him. But yeah, wishful thinking.
I honestly thought Peter had a lot more fuel by the way his foot was planted, especially up until the end of the, when he crossed the start finish line. But nonetheless, that was an epic battle. Again, we did miss 2 drivers. Declan, you fought with the Frenchman last week. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was
it Kevin?
Kevin, right.
Yeah.
So it was, I am sorry that we missed him as well as Jaden, but hopefully we'll have them back. Well, Jaden won't be back until week 4, but for Sebring next week, do you guys have any thoughts? We'll start with you, Declan, as you head in.
No, I'm just looking. I just want to look ahead and see what the track temps are like. So far it's been kind of hot. Doesn't really bother me either way, but Sebring is one of those tracks. When it's hot, it's very, very, very different.
Yeah.
So,
and I will admit that I am trying to influence the organizer to put a little bit of Florida weather on the bumpy track. So stay tuned to the weather, but I am begging. It's not looking like it's going in my favor, but nonetheless, excited to see you next week. Taj, your thoughts?
Yeah, the schedule looks like I'll be able to make it next week as well. So yeah, Sebring is a nice track. Just need to avoid the potential chaos at the start and the hairpin, and then I don't mind when it's like super hot. It's additional challenge, so it should be fun. Sebring is always a nice, fun track, so hopefully we'll get a convergence of strategies next race as well, and it'll be entertaining.
Absolutely. It's sad to say, because Sebring is one of Jaden Harrison's favorite tracks as well, so I know he was crying when he heard that we're doing it and he would be missing it, but I could just imagine the drama that would have come into play if he was a part of this trio or the quadruple between you guys. But Peter, final thoughts on the race heading into the next round?
I haven't practiced this yet, so I'm gonna take some time this week and re-acclimatize to Sebring. The last couple of races I've done there, I've been in the LMP2, so I know GT3s will be a little different. Hopefully a little less painful on the wrists, because I definitely suffered after the races I did there before, but I look forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I am looking forward to it, guys, and again, thank you for joining. This is round 2, and so far I've enjoyed this series quite a lot. I feel like Declan, I'm gonna hear a lot more from me in the next few weeks as well as you, Taj, and looking forward to more fights and more battles between you guys as we continue pushing the sim racing in the Caribbean, and even looking forward to your guys' league as well, from Calypso Racing. So any thoughts or any well, you can do a quick shout out on any events that you guys have coming up.
We do have the what's it called, Pete? The Velocity League. I can't remember the full name. It's for some reason. That's coming up in August. Yeah, yeah. That's coming up in August. We'll probably share that info with you, Stephen. So you can probably, you and Jaden can put that in your Discord maybe.
Absolutely.
And then we have a series in a sort of course that we're working on.
That we and I need to meet about.
Yeah, yeah. We can probably do that this week if you have time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I can give you more information on that. I can't really share too much on that publicly yet.
That's fine.
But our league is the next thing on the schedule in August.
Okay. Well, we are looking forward to that, and we'll broadcast it as much as we can, and lend our support as best as possible as well. But that being said, this does bring the stream to a conclusion. Taj, as always, brother, happy to have you, man. I feel like it's only iRacing, I'll get you in. So we will be looking forward to more iRacing championships in the foreseeable future, just to be able to catch you on board. But any final thoughts from you, bro?
Yeah, I'm an iRacing pleb, but yeah, thanks again, Stephen, as always, for the broadcast, the Jamaican Sim Racing Association, the Calypso Racers, my team, Orion Race Team, Huffy Bike sponsors, Joe Real Timing, and yeah, and anybody who watched the broadcast, hope they enjoyed it.
Absolutely, man. And again, we wouldn't have these leagues without you guys. So huge shout out to you guys, and looking forward to seeing you next round in Florida at the Sebring Motor Raceway.